Hi, I am responding to Tabith Lloyd's recent video about Chase and Ash, and I just wanted to kind of expand upon some of the things she said as well as kind of offer my own opinions on what's little bit of what's going on there. So, Tabith mentioned the amount of views that both Ash, her accent is so adorable. She doesn't even know she has it, but it's so cute. Ash and Chase have a lot of views on their YouTube accounts, and a lot of other people in their same SJW world have a lot of videos. And I think that they don't realize that a lot of the time, people aren't watching their videos to get educated. People are watching their videos to ogle at them. Probably not in such a nice way, and that's the truth. That's what's going on with mainstream media as well, is that when it comes to these trans individuals, is that they're making a spectacle of them in a way that's not necessarily always positive, and people are just kind of lapping it up, and they're just seeing wow, that biological male looks so much like a biological female, but he's a biological male, and vice versa, when they're not even thinking about it critically. Okay? And we need to think about these things critically. We need to think about everything critically. Okay? So that, I think, is one reason why they have so many views. And there are also a lot of people like them in other parts of the world who are watching these videos, but probably more, let's be real here, probably more in the Anglosphere, probably more in first world countries that are watching these videos. And unfortunately being influenced by them in negative ways. Chase even said in the clip of the video you showed, I didn't even watch the full video, but he said in the video that he was so influenced by these other people he saw transitioning growing up. Probably so much so that he did it himself. And it's okay to be influenced by media, probably not that much. And when you are, I've been influenced by media. Okay, I have. Everyone is. Everyone is. Unless you're living on a frickin' off the grid nowhere where you're not seeing anything, in which case you are still affected by media because you just are. Because when you meet other people, you don't understand the references, etc. So, I've been affected by media. Okay, I've learned some really bad things from media, and I had to unlearn them, and it was a lot of work, right? But, it was worth it to unlearn them so that I could understand myself better and understand others better and understand real issues better in order to not think that they're just something that I saw in the media or some, concept that doesn't even affect me that's in the media. These issues affect a lot of people, and they're not being dealt with properly. So, moving on. I think that I've actually noticed, okay, here's a theory I have. All right? I've actually noticed, honestly, that a lot of trans people were premature births. I've noticed that a lot of them were, if they weren't premature births, then they were extremely traumatic births. Or both, even, because a premature birth generally is a really traumatic birth. But there's a lot of really key brain development that's happening in the womb, especially during the third trimester, okay, that they just missed out on. And I'm pretty sure Ash was a preemie because you can tell in her stature, they're generally pretty small. They often have bad vision. I have bad vision because it's genetic. Okay, I wasn't premature. I was born at 9 months. What's up? But yeah, so I think that's a contributing factor to their issues. I mean, maybe it isn't. I don't know. I've talked to, Terry Strange has also told me that she's noticed that too. Now, after I told her, she then noticed that herself. So, worth thinking about, okay? And Tabitha also said that it's all about semantics. It's nothing to do with material reality for them. And that's true. They do this thing. Here's the new term. Ready for it? Are you ready for my new term? I hope you are. Web spinning. Web spinning is the new term. Okay? Ash and Chase and other people like them do this new thing, okay? And it's called web spinning, all right? And web spinning is when you have a point you would like to prove, but in order to prove it, you need to give a goddamn fucking lecture. You need to send someone 10 links to 15 different studies. You need to send someone a bunch of fucking videos. You need to explain it this way. You need to explain it that way. It becomes this long ongoing thing, and it actually doesn't make any goddamn sense at the end of the day. Okay? An early example of web spinning that I can think of is cigarettes. So people were smoking cigarettes for a long time, and then people started getting cancer from it. They started getting illnesses as a direct link from the smoking. But cigarette companies were very clever, and they're like, oh, well, we can handle this. And so what they did was they paid a bunch of scientific companies or whatever to make a bunch of studies that proved, that showed that cigarette smoking doesn't actually hurt you. It could, but it's definitely not guaranteed to hurt you, when in fact it is. Okay, and there was this ad campaign in the 60s about how doctors smoke too, so you don't need to feel bad about smoking. And people fell for it, okay? That was like a miniature web spun in favor of smoking cigarettes. And it worked. It has worked. It still works, okay? Because as last I heard, they're still making those studies that say that cigarette smoking isn't actually bad for you. But the 60s version of the web spinning is not the same as the current version of the web spinning, which involves the internet, okay? And if you have to spin a web about something, chances are you're probably wrong, Trans women are sexist men. That's 5 words, and it's true, because that's not a web to be spun, okay? And, a bunch of trans women would come up, or whoever, SJWs would come up and be like, well, trans women aren't women because blah, 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 blah. Here are 10 videos and 15 Tumblr posts and 5 different cartoons that show you that they're... No. They're men. And trans men are women. And nothing can ever be done to change that, okay? And you don't need to spin a cute web about why it's the opposite reason, why it's the opposite logic of reality, okay? Because I know what reality is, and I hope you know what reality is too. Anyway, I'm really glad Tabith brought up humanities, because humanities in American education, if you can even call it that, okay? American higher education is dismal right now. It is a fucking travesty. I wouldn't even call it education. I would call it daycare for people in their 20s and whoever the fuck is going back to school, because I had to watch videos, okay, and I was in university in 2015. This happened in 2015. I had to watch videos about, Tetwans, about how great Tetwans is. And by that point, I was, not into it, but I couldn't say anything against it because I knew it would have upset my instructor. They're also teaching children this shit, I will add. I have heard about them teaching children, kindergartners, first graders, elementary schoolers, primary schoolers, middle schoolers, high schoolers, about this shit, and it's not fucking true. Okay? Just because a man wants to wear a dress doesn't make him a woman. I feel like these, trans people should go to the Middle East or wherever it is that men wear thobes, which if you asked, a clueless Western person, what would you call, if you gave them a picture of a man wearing a thobe, okay, and you said, what would you call this article of clothing? They would say it's a dress. Because it's more or less a dress, why not? But just because a man wears thobes doesn't mean he's a trans, doesn't mean he wants to be a woman. Are you kidding me? But yeah, so American education is dismal, and it's not reliable, and now all the women's studies courses have been turned into gender studies, okay? And I'm really glad you brought that up, because yeah, that's a problem, and it's happening now. I saw a young man in this, walking on the sidewalk the other day, And he was wearing that shirt. I think it's a popular shirt. I've seen it before. I don't remember exactly what it says. It says something along the lines of like, if you're gonna say something, if you're gonna say something racist, sexist, or transphobic, better to just not say anything at all. Do you know what I did? As I was driving by him, my window was already rolled down. I yelled, "Trans women are men!" Because they're men. Okay, and I think he heard me, and I'm glad about it. And I hope it upset him, because now I hope he watches this video and understands where I'm coming from. Okay? And it worries me that our youth is being taught this shit that isn't real, as if it's real. And YouTube videos are not helping, but here I am, so maybe they can help. I hope. Anyway, thank you for your video, Tabith Lloyd. I hope to respond to more another time. Bye.